श्रीमद् भगवद गीता चैप्टर नंबर 2। ओम हरे श्री कृष्ण परमात्मा ने नमः। Sanjay said, Shri Krishna then addressed the following words to the Arjun, who was, as mentioned before, overwhelmed with pity, whose eyes were filled with the tears and agitated, and whose was full of sorrow. Shri Bhagavan said, Arjun, how has this infatuation overtaken you as it at this odd hour? It is shunned by the noble souls, neither will it bring heaven nor fame to you. Yield not, be unanimousless, Arjuna. This does not become you. Shaking off this base, faint-heartless stand-up, O scorer of enemies. Arjun said, how, Krishna, shall I fight Bhishma and Drona with arrows on the battlefield? They are worthy of deepest reverence, O destroyer of foes. O destroyer of foes, it is better to live on arms in this world without slaying these noble elders, because even after killing them, we shall after all enjoy only blood-stained pleasure in the form of wealth and sense enjoyments. We do not even know which is preferable for us, to fight or not fight, or nor we do not know whether we shall win or whether we will conquer. They will conquer us. Those very sons of Dhritarashtra, killing them, we do not ever wish to stand in the enemy ranks. With my being smitten by the voice, faintness, hardness to my mind puzzled with regard to duty, I beseech you, tell me that which is decidedly good. I am your disciple. Pray, instruct me, who has taken refuge to you, for even on obtaining undisputed sovereignty and affluent kingdom on this earth and lordship over the gods, I do not see any means that can drive away grief which is drying up my sense. Sanjay said, O king, having thus spoken to Krishna, Arjuna said to him, I will not fight, and become silent. Then, O Dhritarashtra, Shri Krishna, as if smiling, addressing the following words to grieving Arjuna in the midst of two armies. Shri Bhagavan said, Arjun, you grieve over those who should not be grieved for any, yet speak like the learned. Wise man, do not sorrow over the dead or living. In fact, there were never a time when I was not, or when you or those kings were not, nor it is in fact hereinafter we shall all cease to be. We shall all cease to be. Just as boyhood, youth, and old age are attributed to the soul through this body, even so attains another body. The wise man does not get disturbed about this. O son of Kunti, the contacts between the sense and their objects, which gives rise to the feeling of heat and cold, pleasure and pain, etc., they are transitory and fleeting. Therefore, Arjun, endure them. Arjun, the wise man to whom pain and pleasure are alike, and who is not tormented by these contacts, becomes eligible for immortality. The unreal has no existence Unreal has no existence and the real never cease to be. The reality of both has thus been perceived by seers of truth. Know that alone it is imperishable with the pervades this universe. There no one has power to destroy his indestructible substance. All these bodies pertaining to imperishable, indefinable, and eternal soul are spoken of as perishable. Therefore, Arjun, fight. Both of them are ignorant. He who considers the soul to be capable of killing, he who takes as killed. For verily, the soul neither kills or not is killed. The soul never born, it never dies, nor does it become only after being born, for it is unborn, eternal, everlasting, primeval. Even though the body is slain, the soul is not. Arjun, the man who knows the soul to be imperishable, eternal, and free from birth and decay, how a man who will cause to be killed now and whom he will he kill? A man shedding worn out garments takes other new ones. Likewise, the embedded soul casting off worn out bodies enter into others that are new. Weapons cannot cut or nor can fire burn it. Water cannot wet it, nor can wind dry it. Nainam chindati shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, nainam klechvayam topo shosheti marutaha. For the soul is incapable of being cut or burnt by fire, nor can be destroyed, nor can be dissolved by the water, and undeniable by the air as well. The soul is eternal, omnipresent, immovable, constant, and everlasting. The soul is unanimous, it is incomprehensible, and it is spoken of as immutable. Therefore, knowing it as such, you should not grieve. And Arjun, if you should suppose the soul to be subject to constant birth and death, even then you should not grieve like this. For in the case of death is certain for the born, and rebirth inevitable for the dead. You should not therefore grieve over the inevitable. Arjun, before birth, beings are not manifest to human or sense, or our human sense. On the death, they return to the unmanifest again. They are manifest only in the interim between birth and death. What occasion then? Lamentation. Hardly anyone perceives these souls as marvelous, scarce. Another likewise speak thereof as marvelous and scarce. Another heart of it is as marvelous, while there are some who know it not even on hearing it. Arjun, this soul dwelling in the bodies of all can never be slain. Therefore, you should not mourn for anyone. Beside considering your duty to, you should not waver, for this is nothing more welcome for man of the warrior class than righteous wars. Arjun, happy are the Kshatriyas who get the such unsolicited opportunity for war, which is an open gateway to heaven. Now, if you refuse to fight these righteous wars, then shrinking your duty and losing your reputation, you will incur sin. Nay, people will also underline infamy on you. Infamy brought on the man enjoying popular esteem is worse than death. And warriors chiefs who thought highly of you will despise you, thinking that it will fear which draw away you from battle, and your enemies disparaging you might will speak many unbecoming words. What can be more distressing than this? Die, and you will win heaven. Conquer, you will enjoy serenity of the earth. Therefore, stand up, Arjun. Determined the fight, treating alike a victory and defeat, gain and loss, leisure and pain. Get ready for the battle. Fighting thus, you will not incur sin. Arjun, this attitude of mind has been presented to you from the point of view Jnana Yoga. Now hear the same presented from the standpoint of Karma Yoga, the yoga of selfless action. Equipped with the attitude of mind, you will be able to throw off completely shackles of karma. In the path or distrained action, there is no loss of effort, nor in their fear contrary result. Even a little practice to disciple saves one from terrible fear of birth and death. Arjun, in this yoga of disinterested action, the influence of determinative and directed singly towards one ideal, where the intellect of one undecided, ignorant man moved by desire wanders in the direction after immeasurable arms. Arjun, those who are full of worldly desires and devoted to the letter of Vedas, who took upon heaven as supreme goal and urge that there is nothing beyond heaven or unwise, they utter flowery speech recommending many rituals of various kind of attainment of pleasure and power with rebirth as a fruit. Those whose mind are carried away by such words, those who are deeply attached to the pleasures, worldly power, cannot attain the determined intellect concentrated with God. Arjun, Vedas does deal with evaluates the three gunas, modes of prakti, which worldly enjoyments, the mean of attending such enjoyments, the though indifferent to those enjoyments and their means, rising above pairs of opposite like pleasure and gain, pain etc. Establish the eternal existence God, absolutely unconcerned about the fulfillment of wants and preservation of what has already attendants and self-control. A Brahmana who has obtained enlightenment has a much case used for all Vedas as one who stands at the brink of the sheet of water overflowing on all sides, small reservoir of water. Arjun, perform your duties established in yoga, renouncing attachment, and be even minded in the success and failure. Anyways, of mind is called yoga. Action with selfish motive is far inferior to the yoga in the form of equanimity. So seek the refuge to the equipoise in the mind. Arjun, for poor and rich are those who instrumental in making their actions bear fruit. Endowed with equanimity, one shades in the life of good and evil. Therefore, strive for the practice this yoga. Equanimity, skill in action, lies in the practice of yoga. For wise man possessing equipoised mind, renouncing the fruit of action and freed from the shackles of birth, attain the blissful supreme stage when your mind will have fully crossed the enjoyments of this world to the next and even heard of as well as to those that are yet to be heard of. When their intellect, confused by hearing conflicting statement, will rest steady and undistracted in the meditation on in meditation on God, you will then attain yoga, everlasting union with God. Arjun said, Krishna, what is definition of mark of a good realized soul? Stable of mind, established of samadhi, perfect tranquility of mind. How does the man stable mind speak? How does he sits? How does he walks? Sri Bhagwan said, when thoroughly cast off all carvings of mind and is satisfied in self through the joy of self, he is then called stable of mind. The sage who remains unperturbed amid disappeared and who is free from passion, fear and anger is called stable of mind. He who is unattached to everything and meeting with good and evil neither rejoices nor recoils. His mind is stable when, like tortoise that draws in its limbs from all direction, he withdraws all his senses from sense objects. His mind becomes steady. Sense objects turn away from him who does not enjoy them with his sense, but the taste for man persists. This relish also disappears in the case of man of stable mind. He realizes the supreme. Turbulent the nature, the sense, not free from attachment, even of the wise man who is practicing self-control, forcibly carry over his mind, Arjun. Therefore, having control all the sense and concentrating his mind, he should sit for meditation, devoting himself heart and soul to me. For he whose senses are under his control is known to have stable mind. The man dwelling on the sense object develops attachment for them. From attachment spring up desire, from desire unfulfilled ensure anger. For anger arise delusion, from delusion confusion of memory, from confusion of memory loss of reason, from loss of reason one goes to the complete ruin. But the self-control sadhak, while enjoying the various sense objects through his sense with discipline and free from likes and dislikes, attained placidity of mind. With attainment of such placidity of mind, all his sorrows come to end, and the intellect of such person of tranquil mind, soon withdrawing itself from all sides, become firmly established in God. He who has not controlled his mind and sense can have no determinate intellect nor contemplation. Without contemplation he have no peace, and how can there be happiness for one lacking peace of mind? As wind carries away a boat upon the waters, even so the sense moving among sense object, the one to which mind is attached, takes away discrimination. Therefore, Arjun, he whose senses are completely restrained from their objects is said to have stable mind. That which is night to all begins in the state of divine knowledge and supreme bliss. The God realized yogi keep awake, and that ever changing transcendent worldly happiness in which all begins keep awake, is neat night to seer, as water different rivers enters the ocean, which through full of slides remains undistributed. Likewise, he in the whom all enjoyments merge themselves without causing disturbance attain peace. Not he so hankers after such enjoyment. He who has given up all desires and moves free from attachment, egoism, and thirst for enjoyment attain peace. Arjun, such is the state of God realized soul. Having reached this state, he overcomes delusion and establish in the state even the last moment the attains Brahmic bliss. Thus, Upanishad sung by Lord, the science of Brahma, scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjun, and second chapter entitled Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha.